Hello there, and welcome to Tapcaf Transmissions, the only Star Wars podcast where one of the hosts is literally a Doge. I'm Corey, joined by that Doge, Mr. Eckhart's Ladder. How are you doing tonight, Justin?
Cecine, Pa, and Doge.
Je suis un Doge, therefore I am.
I'm well. How are you?
I'm a little let down, to be honest, because we have all this great Bad Batch to talk about.
I know.
Normally, I look forward to
My face,
looking into your eyes while we're having these conversations.
Yeah, we're having technical issues. It's not good. Let's talk about that. So we were planned to have 2 episodes this week. Obviously that didn't happen, and that's on me. So what happened is I was driving down the street, and my wife and I have been looking to get a new house for really several years. Not a big rush, but we've been looking kind of every day, check the website. And I drove past a house and I was like, oh, I didn't see that. So we looked on Viewpoint. The price was really good. We went to go see it. It was really nice inside. So we put an offer in and they accepted. So we weren't expecting to move, but now we have to sell our house, and it's been hectic, to put it lightly. So
yeah, so I mean,
you
just ripped off my whole idea, and now we're all moving. So congratulations.
I came in right to just take away some of your thunder.
Yeah, I only had so much thunder to begin with, and now you're just
a little less.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd rather be in my situation than yours, because having to deal with selling the house as well at the same time, that seems like an extra whole layer. But I was already complaining about my messy situation with the house right now to you today. So
yeah,
it's been
we
changed our closing date, and it's our lawyers didn't seem to be aware of the closing date change. So
is that
a fun day for both of us?
So they really just have to do the property check to make sure there's no liens or easements.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be a problem. But if we got to next Wednesday and they're opening the file for the first time, so what seems like what happened was the realtors did send it, but then the lawyers didn't open up the updated file,
right?
Because they had this type of or the law clerk knows and the lawyer doesn't. So we should be good now. But you're sitting in an empty house, and that's why you don't want to show us the webcam, because you're just sitting on the floor.
Well, actually, my office actually looks really good. I had to clear out my YouTube plaques are down, but otherwise it's cleaner than it's been in a long time. But I was saying to you, I used to do those property checks. If there's nothing, it's the easiest thing ever, because you'll note up the property and there'll be nothing. But if there is, it's the only thing on whatever the property database is. It's it's a scanned piece of paper from 60 years ago.
Yeah,
and it's talking about an easement for a horse. Well, it wouldn't be a horse trail, but something crazy.
Yeah, we're buying a condo as well, so that makes it a bit easier, I think, because it's very rarely going to be something else going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today's episode is going to be about the Bad Batch. The plan going forward is to do the Bad Batch episodes on Wednesdays, because I think both of us should generally be available for the Wednesdays. My Thursdays are a bit weirder for the next couple of weeks, but we'll have a Bad Batch episode every week, and we'll try to do an extra episode to get Destiny's Way done as soon as we reasonably can. It's just obviously the surprise housing interrupted that.
Yeah, I was actually being nice and responsible. I was like, it's a long book, but I was I think 40% of the way done. So I was good for a last night and afternoon to finish it. But
I was good for it, I swear.
Yeah,
I did my homework.
I had Borskvalia jump down my throat. The spirit of Borskvalia.
So you're at 40% still. That's where you stand.
Yeah, 40 of the. I don't know. I'm guessing this one ends at an 80. So.
I think, because it's one of the longer ones.
Yeah.
But with that out of the way, we got 3 Bad Batch episodes this week. Unless you want to talk about the Battlefront news, maybe, for a second.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'll let you introduce that, because
you're a hater.
Well, no, you go.
Yeah, because you're a hater. No, I agree. It's not the biggest news ever. It's the biggest Star Wars news in a little bit, I guess. So they announced. I think this was first announced on a Nintendo Direct, where they're doing a Battlefront collection. I'm sure you've all heard of this if you're listening. It's called the Classic Collection. It releases on the Switch, the PS4 and 5, I believe, the Xbox Series X, and on Steam, probably other PC platforms as well. Unfortunately, there is no crossplay, which I think is a bit of a bummer. But it's essentially going to be it's not a remake. It's not even really a remaster. It does seem like they've got some new textures in there because the friggin' game is 55 gigabytes to download.
Yeah, the textures are upscaled, which
Upscaled, yeah.
probably just like AI automatic upscaling, but
Yeah. So the big thing really will be usability, because I did a playthrough of Battlefront 2 or Battlefront 1 and 2 a couple of years ago, and it doesn't play super nice on new systems, like the resolution. So the big thing will be that, plus for consoles especially, there are some new features that they didn't have back in the day, like 64 versus 64 player multiplayer.
is it 64 v
No,
64
it's 60, it's 32, 32. Sorry, 64 in total. Plus a couple new maps that were previously locked away behind exclusive consoles. And I think the only real new change is that they've made it so you can do the sort of heroes versus villains skirmish on every map.
Mhm. Which is my least favorite part of Battlefront 2. So that is
I don't mind it when it's all heroes and villains, but I get where you're coming from.
the game ends up feeling like it's all heroes all the time, and it's something that new Battlefront 2 has as well.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so I do want to clarify that yes, I'm not a huge fan of Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2, but I really like the original Battlefront 1. So
Yeah, that's worth something.
so it's not just that I hate the old Battlefronts, okay? Now Republic Commando, on the other hand. But speaking of Republic Commandos, how are you feeling about the Bad Batch first 3 episodes in? We have not seen more episodes than that. So we are not spoiled. Or unless you've gone and looked up spoilers. I can't stop you from that. If you're even there. And I think he's gone. Did his sneeze like take down his entire computer? Well, and he's gone. So, well, Bad Batch season 3 has come out. There he's back. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I saw the webcam. I saw the webcam, and then it was gone. Well, I still can't hear him. I saw the webcam for a second. You're not making any sounds. All right,
Did
I
you
will.
webcam for a minute?
Oh, there. No, you what?
Did you say you saw my webcam for
I
a minute?
did see your webcam when you joined the lobby again.
What the?
See if you can press start and stop cam again.
Yeah. No, it's not doing anything. Let me just try again. Keep talking though.
Well, I had nothing interesting to say. I will give you something to cut in.
No.
But we got the first 3 episodes of Bad Batch, not Battlefront. I could have recovered that actually. It's the same first 2 letters. But Bad Batch episodes 1, 2, and 3 are here. I haven't looked up any spoilers. Have you been spoiling yourself?
I don't even think there's spoilers out in the wild. Unless I'm just not. I'm usually pretty on top of them, but I haven't seen any.
All right. Well, so I really liked these 3 episodes. I thought they were all good. And honestly, after these 3, I was legitimately considering whether by the end of season 3, I might be looking at a new replacement for Rebels at the top of my
Really? Oh
pantheon of
wow.
Star Wars animated shows. So
Wow, that's quite a statement. I liked it quite a bit, but I wouldn't say that much. I think it's missing a bit for me anyway of what made Rebel special. But wow, that's quite a compliment from you.
I'm not saying it's gonna land in that spot. I'm just saying it's not impossible that it does, which considering how little interest I had in Bad Batch when it was announced, I think is it's a good place for Bad Batch to be sitting for me.
So what is it about the show and these first few episodes that have been special for you?
I mean, I think the character work has been much better than I expected, and just generally solid overall, which is something that I did like about Rebels. It hasn't been as good at Rebels, or as good as Rebels at giving them all the attention at the same time. So dealing with them as kind of an ensemble cast. But I think when it does focus on some of those characters, there's been a bit more meat, and I think there's a bit more depth to some of what they're doing. Like I think Crosshair as a double agent character, not double agent, but like as a defector story has a bit more weight to it than Callus does, even though some of the effects of what Callus was doing were stronger. And it's not like there's going to be like a point by point comparison where like every
Yeah.
character has an analog, but that's just kind of one of the things that I think Bad Batch has done really well, that I really enjoy and
No, that makes sense to me.
might have beaten Rebels at.
Do you like the? Do you prefer the different era? Because I mean, we've gotten the Rebel era before, so
I don't know. Like I'm not as big a fan of watching stuff in the Clone Wars era. So the
Mhm.
fact that it's getting away from the Clone Wars a bit more into the Rebels era, which I do enjoy more, might be a
Mhm.
point in its favor, more than anything. Because like Clone Wars, I like well enough, but I'm kind of meh on the series overall.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think Bad Batches made me warm up even to that a little bit more.
Yeah, that's heavy praise. So did you have a favorite episode out of the bunch there?
I think of these three, I think episode 3 is my favorite. Like it has a
Not
lot of what I liked
controversial.
about episode 1, but more of it. So
Mhm.
and a bit of action in there. You get some Palpatine coming back, which is always fun. But how
Yeah.
about you? How are you feeling about Bad Batch overall, and which of the three was your favorite so far?
I thought it was a fairly bold move to have episode 1 be like completely on Mount Tantus and not have the Bad Batch in episode 1.
Well, it did have the Bad Batch in episode 1.
Well, I had a Bad Batcher.
It had two Bad Batchers. Crosshair
Yeah.
and Omega are both Bad
Oh, I
Batchers.
thought you were gonna refer to the little hound they had, Batcher. Isn't that his name?
Bitcha? I don't know
New
what she's in.
new cute creature just dropped. I think the hound's name is Batcher, like Batcher.
That would be a thing that Omega would name it. I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was
So
never.
I thought it was a pretty bold move to do that. But I enjoyed it overall. I like the I find the clone lady interesting, and Nalise. I don't know if it was
Yeah,
revealed
Batcher.
in last season that they didn't actually know yet that Omega has whatever's going on with her. Like I think we're supposed to assume in season 2 that they're tracking her because they know she's special, but really we now know it's just to get Nalise to work.
Yeah, that does seem to be the case. And like we have two pretty good reveals of what the thing they're looking for is or what they're trying to do. Because you have the quote from Nalase in the first episode of trying to recreate the genetic M count.
Yeah.
Uh, and then at the end, you have the confirmation that like putting the blood into Omega's blood checked out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So something that I thought after Emery's line at the end of last season was that not just was Emery a clone, but
Mhm.
all those techs were not techs, but all the scientists were clones. Was that just me?
Um yeah, I think that was just you.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
all they all look the same. They all look like similar enough to each other compared to like how the rest of the clones look that I figured like, oh, if Kara's one, every like
Yeah. No, I think
why
that's
else
fair. I
would they
just
all be the women with the same hair color that have slightly different hairstyles
Mhm. Yeah,
and
no, that makes sense to
marginally
me.
different
I
features?
I didn't pick up on that, but yeah. Um I mean it still could be the case.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because I didn't even give that a second thought until someone like brought up that they weren't. It's like,
What I find is interesting is that she's got a last name.
yeah, I mean, even like Emery Carr does, and they all like the other one we know the name of. Actually, I forget what the other one's name was. But we know two of the names at least, and we know they have
Mhm.
different voice actresses.
Mhm.
So that would be a point against them being clones. But they
Yeah,
like,
that's
is
fine.
it just is it racist if I think all of these white women with brunette hair looking the same. Is that what that
No,
is?
no, that's
Hmm.
fine. Yeah, it's interesting. And now they know. So she was an interesting character because obviously you kind of think that, oh, she's related to Omega, so she's going to cut her some slack. But not only does she at the end of episode 3, kind of a weird moment where she saves Omega, but she also kind of damns her at the same time when they're about to fire on her ship, and she's like, nope, don't do it. She's got
Yeah,
the M count, so she is saving her, and I guess that's probably the intention. But now
yeah,
they're going to be going after her for very different reasons.
yeah. Because I was gonna ask you actually if you think that had Omega not been in danger at that moment, would Emery have said anything? But then why
Yeah,
else would she be running to Hemlock
yeah, and
other than the needs of the show? But
she had her chance to be nice when she caught them escaping, and like could have just turned around and walked away, and she didn't. Um,
well, I think there's it. It almost feels like there's more going on there too, and how Emery sees her own situation. Because like when she's talking to Omega at the start of the first episode,
yeah,
when she comes into the room and Omega says she doesn't want to be a prisoner there, and Emery says, "Oh, you're not a prisoner, but it's dangerous out there." And like the
yeah,
obvious like answer to that is, well, then don't fucking bring me here if I'm not a
yeah,
prisoner and it's dangerous out there. I didn't choose to be here, but like is that how Emery is thinking about it?
yeah,
And like, does she legitimately think like, oh well, I I'm here, and technically, I guess I could have like I could personally leave, but I'm not because I'm going to get eaten. And what
yeah.
do I care about what we're doing?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say like she's not here as a prisoner when like they take her fucking toy from her and stuff and
Yeah,
lock her in her room.
and they try to stop her from leaving through the dog crate or the dog gates as well. So
Yeah. It's like
yeah,
definitely totally a prisoner.
yeah, but like,
Um
how much of that is Emery thinking of?
yeah, that's true. And how do you feel about Nala Say having this like very soft spot where she straight up trying to save her? Is that, consistent with the Kemi Noans as we've seen them?
I mean, usually not, especially after reading the Boba Fett books. Maybe that's coloring my perceptions right now. But I mean, we have had it established that like Nala Se does have
Yeah.
a special connection with her at least over the last few episodes or last few seasons. So I think it works. Like I
Mhm.
don't know if Nala Se sees her like values her more as like, oh, this is a person who I care about, or oh, this is my scientific achievement who I care about. But also, if she didn't care about her as a person, she wouldn't probably worry as much about the Empire finding out what she's doing. So,
Yeah, I definitely get the feeling she cared about her as a person. Because if she's really all about the science, then let's see what we can do here. You got the M
yeah.
count. We're successful. It's kind of like but it's also kind of like a Grogu thing where okay, you work, so they're probably going to want to cut you apart and see why.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone likes some good science now and then, but we kind of know that this isn't going to be good science, really, because not just morally, but they're can they really get much success out of this, given
Mhm.
that they're trying to find out how to make a stable body for the M count transfer.
Yeah,
I don't think they know that Palpatine's going to like shove his own soul into the whatever body because that's what he tries to do in Rise of Skywalker. But by then, he's still got decomposing bodies.
yeah.
In uh, The Mandalorian, they're still trying to figure out Project Necromancer like 30 years later.
I'm not
So
convinced they even know what it is at that point.
no, probably not. But if they know the name, if they know that that's something that Hux is working on,
See, this is where it
then
gets so like messy because there's the final order and the first order, right?
yeah,
And Project Necromancer seems much more like a final order thing with Palpatine off
yeah,
on. And I always got the feeling like the final order and the first order are supposed to be kind of separate, with maybe the latter serving as a distraction even for the former. Um, so like my kind of reading of it so far is that Palpatine is working on the project, and some know. Like I'm kind of wondering whether whether what's his name, Doctor, what's his name again?
Hemlock.
Yeah, Hemlock was looking at like a Palpatine clone at that moment. I'm wondering whether he knows, but maybe like for the First Order people and the Imperials working on it, maybe they just believe, oh, this is some way to resurrect the Empire. Generally, we don't know the specifics.
So, do you think that had a Palpatine clone in it?
Um,
Because I was thinking like it had a clone of someone in it at first, but the other thing, so they look at the tube, right? And like
yeah.
my first thought was cloning tube, but the experimentation that they're doing is about like figuring out how they can make a clone, presumably a clone with
Yeah.
the stable genetics when they have them, whatever them count and stuff. But they're putting the blood into the clone's blood, right? So there has to be a source for the blood. And when Nala Se tells Omega at the start that they're experimenting on something, Omega asks like, "Oh, is the subject or is the subject the clones or are they cloning?" And Nala Se says, "No, not the clones." So we know that they're putting the blood into the blood of the clone, so it must be talking about the source from that. So, do they have like a Jedi or something that they're keeping alive in those tubes in stasis, and that's where they're getting the blood to test with?
It's a good question. I hadn't considered it to that degree because you're right, and also the fact that Omega seems to have some sort of force sensitivity or something going on when Jango Fett didn't. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't seem like Jango Fett, like the it doesn't seem like the test was making Jango Fett's midichlorians pass on.
yeah.
Where like
And
all the
Nala Se
clones,
knew that Omega couldn't be tested for this, or they'd find out it works. So
yeah,
whatever it is that's force related, Nala Se or midichlorian related, Nala Se would have known that Omega would have this reaction. So is that what
yeah.
Nala Se did to Omega?
That's a good question. And I never considered it, to be honest, but yeah, it might be. It might be. Hmm.
Because I don't think Palpatine would be the kind to just like send in a box of blood every week, and I don't think he'd want the cloners to have his blood just to play with
Mhm.
at that point. So
Yeah,
it
no, I
it
agree.
seems like the safe thing for him would be to get like I don't know if he's
Order
got like
66. Could even be a
Dooku's
Jedi
head
we
in the
know.
box,
Yeah.
Ventress is in there, Quinlan Voss, and that's how Ventress comes in.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting idea.
But yeah, so I
Yeah,
think it's
I hadn't
stasis
considered that, to be
tubes.
honest.
And they had there were a bunch of them in that room. Then there was like the main central thing, but there
Yeah.
was like a circle of several. So,
Hmm.
and I
No, I
can't
don't
take
know.
credit for the Quinlan Voss thing. So, just to be clear,
Interesting.
the rest of it I'm taking credit for, but
Okay.
not that part.
It's a good theory.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a good clip, so
Yeah, well. Maybe next time, buddy. Maybe
we
next time.
never are. Talking about the name drop of Fallen Order, 20K, like just for a random monster, 20K views. Talk about that, 1,000.
Oh, was it the same monster?
It was the. It's not even the monster itself. It's when Wrecker and Hunter are just landing on the planet,
Mhm.
and Wrecker was saying it smells like rancid. Fuck, I forget the name again. It's rabid. It fuck. It's something. It's something with a J, I think.
Mhm.
But yeah, Wrecker just says it smells like a rancid something, and the something was an enemy from Fallen Order. Joe Taz.
Okay.
Joe
Oh,
Taz.
Joe Taz. Yeah, I remember them.
That's what it was.
Huh. Interesting. I didn't even pick up on that. You got your ear to the ground for all these little connections.
I go and read the script as soon as I can afterwards because
You never know what you find. There's been gold before. Like that's a good way
yeah,
to find gold.
because like when I'm watching the first time, I'm also recording the episode because I don't torrent them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean, I don't have a
You
legal
don't
copy
buy
that I'm
them
mail.
initially on
Yeah,
digital download and back
digital
up your
download that I can
legitimate
edit and
copy. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Uh, So since I can't have the subtitles on when I'm doing that, I just as soon as someone's got the the transcript available, which is usually pretty fast,
Mm-hmm.
then I just go and read that and see if there's anything big that I missed. And the system
Interesting.
works.
The system works. You got Joe Taz videos. How could it not work?
Yeah. Everyone loves a Joe Taz, apparently.
Yeah. So that's episode 3. I think we covered that. I mean, we got the escape, and is there anything else you want to? My theory, and I think I mentioned this, was that um, they were going to escape together, but Omega, like someone was going to grab her leg on the way out, and Crosshair was going to escape by himself and then meet up with the Bad Batch. But no, obviously that's not what happened.
I still think they get her before Crosshair and her are able to reunite with Hunter and Wrecker.
Yeah, because the ship's in rough shape, so we don't know
Yeah.
where they're jumping, but it's probably not far.
Yeah, and like any of the trailer clips we had of the rest of the Bad Batch, unless they were very careful to select stuff that didn't have Omega in it, then like
Yeah, because we did see Crosshair with them at some point.
It's almost like does Omega decide she wants to go back to rescue Nalase, or
well, yeah,
then
that's
Crosshair
what
would make the choice to go back too, unless Crosshair goes to Bad Batch, while Omega goes back because she knows she'll be safe and Crosshair won't.
Yeah, the other option is the other clones. Maybe she's trying to save her other brothers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what we've learned so far is that the Republic Commandos, who gives a fuck about them? They've taken the faceless goons role.
Yeah. Yeah, they have. They're not epic anymore.
Do you think that we're going to get anything with Scorch, like examining why the clones are still there? Because there's the clone assassins, and we got a bit of why they're still there and why they're not seen as expendable yet as well. But like, do you think we're going to get anything with the commandos as well?
I don't think so. I think they got too much to do this season. But I guess I don't know. They got a lot of episodes. I don't know. What do you think? I don't really think that much about the clone commandos anymore, other than like I thought season 1 was kind of the one for that, because that was focused pretty heavily on like the split of the clone divide or down kind of. But I guess that does still need, in a way, like an answer, right?
Yeah, like it's just with so much of the core messaging of the show being about like how the clones are their own people, they're making their own choices. And like they're not just the replicant army. Treating the clone commandos that way now just feels like it kind of undermines that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like maybe it's the chip, maybe it's not, maybe they're choosing, maybe they're not, but like having literally no use of them as characters just seems like it'd be kind of a weakness of the
and
show.
I will say the one thing that kind of does push me a bit more in that direction is so far most of the Rex episodes have been about clones. And I guess given the fact that we did get like even up to the capture of Crosshair, where that really is all about him, and his fellow clones. So yeah, I guess there needs to be some sort of conclusion to it, but whether it'll be involve the clone commandos directly, I don't know. But you're right in that they have went out of their way to differentiate the clone commandos from everyone else. So there's something going on. Maybe it's like an extra level of brainwashing they have, and maybe they'll try to free them from that. But yeah, that's a good point, because we do know some clone commandos make it out.
Like Gregor.
Yeah, Gregor.
But it's just the angle of like them getting at least some characterization. I don't care if they like defect or not, but a complete lack of analysis of that or exploration of that would just be a little disappointing. But
yeah, like I can't pretend to care that much about like Scorch and his new like his canon character, even in Legends, when he was in Republic Commando, didn't really care that much. He's just another clone. So I'm not concerned about his particular fate any more so than the Republic Commandos as a whole. I mean, like seeing the rest of Delta Squad would be nice, but again, can't say I really care that much.
It was a bit annoying because I did a video on that as well, and it was like it was the point was that Scorch is just a stand-in for the Republic Commandos, but I had like so many comments are like, oh, it's just that name is fan service, doesn't mean anything. It's like that great, but that's not, I'm not saying that because it's Scorch, I'm saying it because Scorch is just the stand-in example we have of Republic Commandos right now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have kind of conflated those ideas. Like I don't think he's got the same backstory, or Delta even has the same backstory as Legends, but it's just that is the commando we have to work with right now. And if it turns into an exploration of like why Scorch is there and the rest of Delta Squad isn't, then sure, why not? But
if they did any nuts, they would have had Carthonasi voicing him.
He didn't want to talk about it when they asked him.
Yeah. I just don't trust you, Jedi. Okay.
I hope the KOTOR remake, which is definitely going to come out, is entirely about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's also worth noting
sure on
the
the
Battlefront
horizon.
2. The Battlefront 2 Classic is it's made by Aspire, so
It
they
is,
haven't been
yeah.
shuttered by Embracer, who are shutting everything down and then talking about how it's every company's fault that they got shut down.
So I'm just trying to think. Aspire also did like the Republic Commando re-release, right?
Like their main thing is that kind of like port of old games, and then because one of your complaints when it came out, when the announcement came, was that you thought it was stupid that Aspire was doing it when that's the kind of work they'd done before, and I was trying to say I was saying that, I mean, if they give them the resources to do it, then they just hire on more people. And but you were right. So,
well, I mean, I guess we'll never know. There could be a million reasons why it hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I am really excited for the Dark Forces 2. Like that's more of a proper remaster. And that's also the game that's behind the biggest tech wall because that run on MS DOS. So I believe
all
right?
the 90s games, like trying to run Dark Forces is fucking horrible. Trying to
it doesn't have mouse support. Like it's a shooter, it doesn't have mouse support. Yeah. Same with even the original TIE Fighter, right?
Yeah, if you didn't have Hodes for a lot of those games, weren't you kind of fucked?
Yeah, you're fucked. So yeah, I'm really excited actually for that one. Although it seems like the biggest graphical changes are just the cutscenes, and everything else is, pretty similar. But it'll be good.
That's all you know.
Yeah,
but I guess we've covered a lot of Omega and Crosshair. Is there anything else on those two you want to say before we maybe talk a little bit about the rest of the Bad Batch?
No. Those two episodes were definitely my favorite as well. Although I liked episode 2 because they did. So yeah, they split it up like Corey's alluding to, where 1 and 3 were even StarWars.com. They had their trivia gallery today, and one of the trivia they had was this episode was focused on Omega, so the Bad Batch are not in it. Like, okay,
even they said that. I mean,
that was like the trivia that they had. Like,
I was trying to find that, but I wasn't finding the trivia pages. I was only finding the Bad Batch minutes or whatever, where they have 5 plot points and boringly recount the story that I just watched. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the trivia is not as good as it used to be.
Okay. Well, they might.
You were looking at the episode guides.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, not even the stuff I was looking at wasn't even the episode guides.
So you
call them the episode guides, because the episode guides used to be good as well.
So you go to the episode guides, and then they have galleries. So there's like a trivia gallery with like 9 images for the first one. It's like, so for example, here's one. The mysterious M count, alluding to the amount of midichlorians in a being's blood, was first uttered by Dr. Pershing in Chapter 12 of The Mandalorian. That's actually a pretty good little fact.
Well, okay, so all I'm finding are Bad Batch Declassified, not even the episode guides.
Yeah, I checked the Star Wars Twitter account. Oh, like for example, it says, according to the hash marks on Omega's cell wall, this episode starts 21 days from her arrival on Tantus and ends around day 125. I didn't realize that much time had passed.
Her hair really doesn't grow that much for that amount of time.
She just like changes it kind of. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, we get Wrecker and Hunter, and we get some payoff showing up and delivering one of the pikes to the Deveronian, or are they Deveronians?
Yeah, I think so. I was trying to figure out if that was a Deveronian we were supposed to know or not.
They're from season.
I was like
1.
Okay.
Because it's like, it's from one of the earlier episodes, but is that even in like fucking Clone Wars? I think it's Bad Batch season 1. But yeah, so they're they're collecting that information because, or they're collecting on that because they.
I think you muted yourself, Corey. There you go.
Okay, my microphone came unplugged. But yeah, so they think they're going to get this is their only semi-lead to find where Hemlock is. And through that, they find an abandoned planet which had what used to be Hemlock's lab, as well as a couple abandoned clone troopers in their young ages.
One of them voiced by Daniel Logan. Did you know that?
I did not.
So young Boba from the Clone Wars, now a grown man, or Attack of the Clones rather, now a grown man playing a child again.
Yeah, that's the way she goes.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts on the Hunter and Wrecker adventure?
It was okay. I like I do enjoy the camaraderie that the clones have and like the different generations of clones. I thought that was cool. But I've seen enough big monsters killed in recent Star Wars, I think. I feel like every show I've got one episode where I'm like, okay, big monster killed. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there was a brief moment where I got excited in this episode because I misheard the Slithervine somehow. I was only like half paying attention. I was like, oh, did they say Maulur? And they didn't say that. So there was no NJO crossover. It was just what was that, like a modified Sarlacc though? Is that what the experiments were?
I don't know. It reminded me of the things from the High Republic. The trees, like the killer trees, remember?
Drengir?
Yeah, the Drengir.
It just seems like a Sarlacc that's a tree instead.
Oh, you mean the specific? Yeah, I don't know.
Because they have the vines, but then the vines turn out to be coming from that guy, I think.
Yeah.
I think that was all one monster.
I
guess they're throughout the whole forest. So
so it's hard to say. It kind of reminded me of Lord of the Rings when they go to what's it called? The Ent, when Pippin and Sam go to the Ent forest and they're like, don't touch anything. Okay. They don't realize because
I thought you meant the tentacles coming out of more, but yeah.
Oh, the Watcher on the water.
Yeah.
No.
And so I'm for all the viewers, this is less for you, Justin, but for one of the upcoming X2 streams, we're doing some trivia, or I'm going to try to be running some trivia, and I'm writing some questions for everyone. I got some Lord of the Rings for you.
Oh God, I've only read the 2 books.
You should be able to get it. It'll be in the range of stuff you could possibly get.
Okay.
And there's gonna be
I've watched all the movies, and I think I read the 3rd book when I was a kid, but I don't remember anything.
So I'm ripping off a few trivia shows to get the format for everything, because why come up with a unique, bespoke trivia style? And so one of the shows that I'm ripping off is Dropout or College Humor's Actually. So what I was thinking for some of the Lord of the Rings stuff is I'd like the premise is that they, instead of just like asking a question about it, they read a statement and something in the statement is false. You have to figure out what the false thing is.
That's cool. I like that idea.
I've got a few questions like that, and that's one of the Lord of the Rings ones there. But anyway,
that sounds fun. I like that idea.
Yeah, just got me all excited for that again. But
yeah, that's awesome.
Did I just mute myself? No, I didn't.
No,
I need to. I'm not touching this microphone. I think it's falling apart.
Yeah, I moved my Go XLR mixer when I was cleaning my desk, and now like there's like a precarious alliance of cables like barely keeping it together.
Yeah, so that's why your fucking webcam doesn't work right now.
Yeah, well, apparently it does for a minute, but which like it doesn't make sense because the light never turned on, and like that makes it seem like the output anyway. But like my cough button isn't working, so I've been having to manually mute myself because I'm coughing for some reason. But
well, you know who was almost coughing for a while is Wrecker and Hunter, because of the rancid smells they were getting on whatever planet that was.
That's true.
But I wonder how much or how often Hemlock moves around. Like, is that a one-time thing, or was that?
That's the part I kind of liked. Like, I'm guessing Mount Tantus was just a lot more secure, but maybe it was also because their experiments had run completely amok. I don't know if they really were clear on that.
Yeah, not really. But it can't be super long that they were gone. But like it could be simultaneous. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not sure. But I don't know. Like that episode was a bit. I don't want to say it was forgettable because we did get the new. I kind of wonder what's going to go on with that crew. Are we now going to follow them back to the island, or are they just going to be gone next episode? Are we going to see them again?
No, I think it's more of the like Animal Crossing style or whatever, where you go and find them, they go back to your village, and then
You
they
can
become.
Yeah, you'll find like an item that you can trade to just them to open up a new shop. It'll be sick.
Yeah. And I feel like people are going to call that episode filler. And even though we're not having much to say about it, I feel like that's just going to be more people misunderstanding what filler is.
Yeah.
Right. Because like this is important stuff for like, it's good for their characters. It's like establishing what they're like, more of the working with the clones, bringing people together. And they're still on Omega's trail. It's just, I don't have as much to say about it with compared to the other two.
Yeah, I mean they had to establish like we learned a lot about their hunt for Omega. They've been doing it for a while, and they've been pretty much completely unsuccessful. And now we know that they know a little bit more about where she is because they do get some intelligence at the very end.
Yeah, but like the other thing with it is like Hunter is kind of being consumed by this. Like he's not in a good place, and it really comes across.
No, and Wrecker even calls him out on it. He's like, "Yeah, last time we rushed, we left one guy short," which I thought was good.
Yeah, and they're referring to a little known character Tech there, who is in fact still alive. So,
speaking of still alive, I was happy to see Gonky back.
Yeah, they abandoned him for a while last season, but I think he was in the background in one or two. But yeah, it's what's the AZ? Is that the medical droid that they just completely forgot about as well?
Yeah,
where does he end up?
Was he destroyed on Camino when they went back? When they bombed it?
No, because I think like Omega thanked Crosshair for helping her get AZ back, and that's when they're like going separate ways at the end of it.
You're right.
So I think AZ was never killed off.
Yeah, I'm looking. I think you're right. I think he's just unfortunately the Imperial Shell managed to take off and left Ord Mantell without leaving any trace of where they went.
Oh fuck.
Apparently he was in the I don't know.
Okay. Apparently maybe he's with Sid. That's unfortunate.
Apparently he was in the last episode of season 2.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we just weren't paying attention.
But was he maybe visible when Sid betrayed them? If that's where he is?
It says that I think he was in hyperspace with
didn't know he had that capability.
No, on the ship with Hunter. So
okay.
Yeah.
He's just asleep.
It says they later jumped into hyperspace and Hunter vowed of searching throughout the galaxy. Okay, Wikipedia. How about you unban me and I'll fix your stupid ass writing. Throughout the galaxy to find Omega as AZ-13 and the other 2 clones mourned. Yeah, unban me and I'll fix that for you.
All right.
And Hunter vowed of searching. Okay.
What are you saying? Hunter didn't vow of searching?
I don't.
He cast vow of searching. It's a D&D.
Yeah, he's +20. Find your small sister ability. Sick. Oh, did you guys win your D&D campaign? I was watching it for a bit, but I had to tune out.
No, we finished the heist and then we almost got to hyperspace, but then Zach dropped a Star Destroyer on us. So we're seeing if we can escape that. And then
so you didn't finish it?
Yeah, we got one more quick episode left, which we're either going to explode or escape in. So
are you in your ship?
We're in our ship. We're in space. We were calculating the hyperspace jump, and we got tracked.
What is your ship?
Fuck. It's a freighter of some kind.
Oh, it's like the one it's like the turtle looking one, right?
Yeah.
I was enjoying that. Yeah. Well, I mean, that should be a very short episode. It sounds like one encounter, and then you'll be done.
Yeah, because from there we're going back and we're turning in our money or all the gold we stole to the rebels, and then the end credits roll.
Was Ilkin in it at some point?
Ilkin was going to be in it, but right before he had to drop, and I think it might have been around the time that he had his son.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a longer time ago than we thought, but I don't know if it was that or that. But yeah, he had to drop.
Interesting.
Unfortunately.
Well, is
But
there anything else about the Bad Batch you'd like to say? Overall, I enjoyed all 3 episodes. I'm very excited for the rest of the season. Visually, the show continues to be stunning.
yeah,
Just very impressed overall. I'm sad it's ending. I will say.
yeah,
But
yeah, I
hopefully,
agree with all
it
that.
transitions to something new.
Hopefully, Tales of the Jedi season 2 leads into another equally good show.
Yeah.
Get more from Jennifer Corbett and Brad Rao and everyone else working on this show. But yeah,
Yeah.
we got a couple months ahead of us of Bad Batch fun, so that'll be
Yeah.
good. Then apparently, The Acolyte is coming out in June, is what the rumors are saying, and then
Yeah,
Christina
that's awesome.
Ariel posted something that seemed to imply that wasn't just a bullshit rumor.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that ends up being true, but we should have a good Star Wars year.
Yeah. Very excited. Well, that's it for us, guys. We will be playing some Helldivers 2, which I've really been enjoying. You've only got to play it the one time, right, Corey?
Yeah, I only played it with you guys last week.
It's fun. Very very fun actually. It's nice to have a pretty simple game with no bullshit. But yeah, we'll be playing that. Are you going to stream it too, Corey?
I think I am. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see you guys there. Until next time. Bye bye.
Bye.